Music publishers are basically, in a nutshell, they make sure that songwriters get paid for each and every use of their copyrights, of their songs, in any format. So we ensure they're licensed for mechanical distribution, which encompasses, well, it used to be CDs, now it's more streaming and digital services. We make sure they get paid for use in film, television, advertising, and we also help exploit their works in those mediums for additional revenue streams. A music publisher represents the rights that belong to the songwriters, and there can be any number of songwriters on a song. And sometimes those writers can be signed to different publishers. So if you're negotiating the use of a song in a TV production, you may be speaking to 3 or 4 different publishers that represent 3 or 4 different writers. Publishers negotiate the rights to use the copyright that is owned by the songwriters and administered on their behalf by the publishers. So we go in and make sure that they're paid fairly for a use of their song to promote a product, or within a film or TV production, or even as something as simple as just streaming on Spotify. We make sure they get paid for every use of their music, their property. If you don't have a publishing deal, you have to take care of those rights yourself, and it's completely doable. You just don't necessarily have the ability to capture all the international income. So, while a Canadian artist might do a really great job, through SOCAN and CMRA and some of the local societies collecting their revenue in Canada, it becomes more challenging to do that if your song gets big in the United Kingdom, if your song gets big in the United States. That's where a publisher can really come in and help you capture all of the international revenue for your song and exploit your song internationally as well. We work with music supervisors. It's a really fluid relationship. They can come to us and say, okay, I'm working on a show. Here's my brief. I'm looking for songs that sound like this. They can't afford this artist, but what do you have that sounds like this, or fits this brief, or fits this lyric that we're searching for? Or they can come to us with songs that have already been requested by production, and they work with us to clear those songs within the client's budget for their project. So we work with tons of music supervisors all day, every day. There's a lot of really great ones in Toronto, especially, and in Canada. And management, so artist management is who we go to discuss projects that come to us, because they are the voice for the writers that they represent. We are as well, but they are the closest step to an artist. So they vet things if the artist is on the road, if the artist has given them the ability to solely vet sync requests or any requests like that on their behalf. So we work hand in hand with management to get the best deals we can for our songwriters. A lot of the writers that we represent are strictly composers and or songwriters, and don't perform themselves. So there is a division within the majors, the major music publishers, where they take the songs written by these people and send them out to pitch them to artists globally to have them covered. So they'll take a song written by a guy in Toronto and ship it off to any artist in the States that's looking, that they think that this song will fit with that artist. Share splits are how when there's multiple songwriters on a song, that's how they've divided it up amongst themselves, who's contributed what percentage. So on any song, there are writer shares and there are publisher shares. So the writer shares are encompassed as 100%, so they'd be divided, if there are 4 writers, each of them contributed equally, it's 25% each, and then their publisher each gets 25% each, so it's broken up into the 2 categories. Because in Canada and some various other countries around the world, at SOCAN, they pay writers' shares directly to the songwriters. They don't come through the publishers for performance income, so they have it separated to be able to allocate for that. Sync placements and their value have a number of determining factors. A lot of it comes from experience and sort of dealing with this all the time. If you're on a project and you hire a music supervisor, they also have a general idea of how the fee structures work. But very often it's based on the rights that you're looking to clear. So obviously something that is world all media perpetuity is going to cost you a lot more than something that's 5 years CBC Canada, right? Because the rights are so much broader, and the number of eyes that are going to be on that commercial, that film, that TV show. So the more eyes, the more money is basically how it works. When someone comes to us for a sync clearance, they're looking to license a territory, a term, and a media. So the territory, in the very broad case that I was talking about, the world all media perpetuity, means that they want to clear it for the world so that it can be viewed anywhere or sold into any territory. And all media is pretty much what it sounds like. It's VOD, it's streaming, it's downloads, it's conventional television, it's promos, trailers, very, very, very broad. And perpetuity is the term, so in that case it's life, basically. And in the second example I gave, which would be 5 years Canada CBC, it is a much more condensed market. So you're paying for the rights for 5 years for Canada only and on CBC programming only, so on CBC Stream. So that could be CBC Web, that could be CBC conventional TV and any of their subsidiaries and affiliates, but it's very, very limited, as opposed to could be any broadcaster, any territory, anytime. There can be an unlimited number of publishers on a song depending on how many writers there are. I've seen songs have 12 to 14 writers on them, and each one of those writers has their own representatives or represent themselves. When you're clearing a sample takes copyright A or parts of copyright A and puts it into copyright B. So when you think about the song Rapper's Delight, for example, and how many times Rapper's Delight has been used in other songs, like the little segments of it. The original writers of Rapper's Delight need to approve the new work, the use of their piece within the new work, and they also determine what copyright percentage of the new work they want based on the use of their song within it. If you don't have a publisher, probably the best way to go about it would be to get involved with the film schools in Toronto, or small television productions. It's very easy to go onto the internet and find out what productions are happening in Toronto, find out who the music supervisors are on those productions, and talk to them, send them music. Music supervisors gather music all the time. But any film or TV studio, any independent filmmaker that doesn't have a huge budget is going to be looking for music that they can afford reasonably. So it's a great way to get in with someone who's also at a ground level to build up a career.